Y'all, I apologize very much. 3, 2, 1. Meow meow, my itty bitty kitty litter. Failure. It's in our nature to want to succeed, and when our successes fail to come to fruition, it can be crushing. Everyone I know has a crazy fear of failure, me included. Pouring your time and effort and passion into something only to have it horribly go wrong is the worst. It's like, I just wasted my time on that ugly mess. I don't think it's possible to not let failure affect you. Failure is the opposite of what we want, and who wants not the thing that you want? Okay, that sentence didn't make a lot of sense. I guess I failed at writing that sentence. I also just failed at telling a funny joke. Anyway, I had an awful fear of failure as a kid, and I think most of it stemmed from school. Schools have a grading system out of 100, at least at the school I went to anyway. There wasn't really anyone in my life pressuring me to get good grades, like, as long as I did my best, my mom was proud of me. These numbers just scared me. Like, I could barely count to 100 at age 6, and you're telling me my spelling test could give me such a big number? Count me in! I remember that first week at kindergarten, we were practicing writing letters. We had to write out a whole sheet of capital and lowercase letters. Everyone else finished the first day, but I spent 2 days and skipped recess to finish mine because I wanted it to look perfect. Which didn't help me at all because I have the worst handwriting of all my friends. Maybe I should go back to kindergarten. I was so excited to get my paper back, to receive some sort of recognition for my hard work. 6-year-old me had high expectations for this paper of squiggles, let me tell you. But when I got it back, there was a big red circle around that lowercase q that I had written backwards. You know that feeling when you're really embarrassed and you feel really hot and you're sweating everywhere and your heart's going ba-dum, 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 and you swear the entire room is staring at you? Yeah, that was me in that moment. I spent so long on this. Way too long, and I failed. This was the first time in my life I did something graded, a government mandated you're not that perfect, bitch. I remember it so vividly because of the fear it instilled in me. It seems silly, but my 6-year-old mind thought this was the most important thing in the world, which it kinda was considering my entire day for the next 13 years would be dependent on this grading system with big red circles. I'm of the mindset that life gets better once you realize you're not that special. Okay, that sounded bad. Let me explain this better. I don't mean to say that people aren't important. You 100% are. What I'm saying is that importance isn't unique to anyone. I'm not more important than anyone, and neither are you. Everybody is important. Everyone is quote-unquote special, which I think it's way more fun to view everyone as an important person. It makes the world a happier, better place. We're all in this together. I was labeled as the smart kid, but honestly, I don't think I'm smarter than any of my friends. I was just deathly afraid of the color red on a piece of paper or a number less than 90, so I did everything in my power not to make that happen. A lot of people were just more reasonable and understand that the world doesn't implode when you get a B on something. Sadly, I was not a reasonable kid. Kids would often compare their grades to mine. It made me really uncomfortable because I wasn't getting straight 100s and I didn't want them to see that, so I would hide my work. Then, these hoes started to steal my stuff and compare their grades to mine, and anytime one of them would do better than me, they would all make fun of me. Which, like, hello, sir, that is the thing that I'm insecure about. But, like, I don't think these kids are evil villains. They just thought it was a fun game, which made them laugh. Plus, we were all, like, 8 at the time, and 8-year-olds do It wasn't a big deal, but I didn't find it funny, and it stuck with me. I've told this story before, but in 4th grade, we had a spelling bee. I had one before, but in this spelling bee, I misspelled the word beautiful in front of everyone, which was like, you know, a pretty, ugly mistake. Ooh. To be honest with you, I truly did not give a fuck about the spelling bee. Like, buzz, bitch, I ain't some kind of nerd. Oh, speaking of bees, our school mascot is, like, terrifying. Here's me standing next to him. Anyway, I gave, like, 0 fucks. But I cried because I was so scared of what my classmates were gonna say. On top of that, my mom was there and she got really mad at me for crying, which is a whole nother story. I felt horrible. I felt like such a failure. 6th grade rolled around, and we had an opportunity to advance 2 years in math, and I took it. And I hate math. I only did it because I feel like I would have failed some sort of secret great math challenge or something. Like, me being in 8th grade math was the most important thing to my success as a competent human being. Which is so silly, because I've learned so quickly in my real life now how little I use math. Literally almost not at all. I would have lost nothing if I didn't kill myself with math, but here goes little me, I'm mathing around like a gosh dang math whiz. It's so funny to look back on it because I hated it so much. I got nothing from it but stress and misery. But that's the thing about my fear of failure. I did all this dumb stuff for no reason because I didn't want to be seen as some sort of mistake. I ran track in middle school and high school. As y'all might know, I was really into soccer at that time, and track and field just felt like an extension of the hours of exercise I was getting a week anyway. Which makes sense, it's not like I had to learn a new skill to run a mile as fast as I could, it was just soccer without a ball. I was 14 running 6 miles a day on top of my schoolwork, which was harder because of math, and soccer and art. I had zero free time. I was constantly getting injuries that I still have because soccer is one of those injury-prone sports, and I was crazy overworking myself, and I would not let myself heal. I always hoped there'd be some kind of payoff or satisfaction or something from this. I mean, I was working like a maniac, so karma's gotta reward me, right? Turns out, hurting your body and mind doesn't give you rewards. I would go to track meets full of anxiety. I still can't look at a track without getting irrationally nervous. I did win these meets. My fastest mile was a 5:45 at 15. And yeah, that's impressive, and there's zero way that I could run nearly that fast now. But I don't look back at track and field with fondness. I was always told, oh Kat, it's good for you to overcome your nervousness and compete. And I'm not saying they're wrong, and I'm sure it did help me in some way, but I hated it the whole time. Side story about track, it was the championship final of the season and I had the flu. The flu! I had no idea why anyone let me compete. I now sort of view sports like video games. They're just a game and it doesn't matter that much, and you should definitely not risk your health for it. But young me didn't have this enlightened philosophy. I threw up before the meet, ran my first race, won, threw up again, and when I went to run my second race, I collapsed in the middle of it. Instead of telling myself, oh Kat, it's okay, you're very sick, it's understandable, I burst into tears because I feel like I failed. I kinda have a history with collapsing at sporting events. There's a soccer organization in Texas called ODP, or the Olympic Development Pool, and I wanted to make the team. The tryout was in the summer, and I live in the great yeehaw state of Texas, so I got heat exhaustion like half an hour in, and I played 2 more hours before fainting. I can't even describe the pain I was in. I couldn't hear like at all, my vision was horrible, and I felt so nauseated. Anyone who's ever been through this knows what it's like. And I went home sobbing, and I didn't finish the tryout, and I was so sure I wasn't gonna make the cut. But I did end up making it, but then I quit soccer because of injuries. In 9th grade, I tried out for varsity soccer. I got blisters and started bleeding, and on day 3, I put a ton of bandages and gauze around my socks and around my foot, and I bled through the bandages. I was like a human juice box. Okay, that's gross, but it's true. Cut to me crying because I felt like a failure, and then I made the team at the cost of not being able to walk for a few days. Like I said, I physically can't play soccer anymore because of injuries, and I probably could if I just let it heal, which I never did because I never wanted to stop playing, and I overworked myself into a permanent injury. It still hurts. It's literally hurting right now as I write the script. It was the dumbest thing I ever did. Like I said, I view soccer as just a game now, and I wish I let myself heal because it's a game I will never enjoy again. As y'all know, I'm currently in an art school, which is notorious for its heavy workload. It's definitely doable, but on top of the workload, I'm trying to keep up with my Instagram, YouTube, and Patreon. This whole week, my stomach was in horrible pain, and I felt awful. I thought that maybe I got some other sort of sickness on top of the one that I already had, until I realized that I haven't been eating anything, like, at all. I would go through the day without food because I was working on 20 different things and I didn't have time to eat. And then I would have a quick snack right before bed and call it a day. I wasn't sick, my stomach was just contracting in on itself because there was nothing in it. I was having hunger pains. I was having a conversation with my girlfriend about literally everything I just told you, and I realized how much of a problem it was. My whole life, I have been this dumbass way. It's not even a competitive thing. I don't have the need to be the best. I just compare myself to, well, myself, and then myself isn't just good enough. And I don't want you to be worried either. I've been eating a lot better lately, and I've been having really, really good days. I want to share this because I feel like telling my experience might help you in some sort of way. Just use me as an example of what not to do. Also, I don't mean all this to say that I hate working. I love working. I wouldn't overwork myself if I didn't love it. I really loved playing soccer. Running was a relaxing time for me to listen to audiobooks. Animating is so much fun, like so much fun. And I love to draw. I love to learn. I was just doing all of this in excess to the point where it was hurting me. Water is good to drink, but if you drink like 10 gallons of water, your stomach will rupture and you'll die. It's all about not doing too much. My fear of failure is motivated with my drive to overwork myself. If I'm not constantly stressed, then I feel like a failure. Maybe the motivation for your fear of failure is something else. Maybe you have someone in your life pressuring you with crazy expectations. Maybe you feel like a screw up, so you try to be a perfectionist. Maybe you feel like you're disappointing people if you fail. Whatever the motivation is, your fear is very real and it's very scary. I don't have a magic answer to this problem. I think I'm always going to be scared of falling short. I think recognizing this and talking about it makes it easier though. It makes everyone feel less alone. It makes me realize that I should take breaks, eat, and hang out with my friends. And yeah, I know there is nothing wrong with failing or giving up. If you are so unhappy doing something, if you are pushing yourself to do something that is hurting you, there is no shame in stopping. Eventually, I quit soccer. I chose to stop hurting myself. I chose to fail. And that's okay. And now I have more time to spend on art. I have more time to be with the people I love. I'm a much happier person. And I wasn't the little ball of stress I was with an ankle and a knee brace on. So yeah, it's okay to fail sometimes.